be alongside Emmitt Smith and DeMarcus Ware at the Las Colinas Country Club for part of the Celebrity Classic presented by Choctaw Casinos and Resorts. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
We're doing great. Go ahead.
Big week for Dallas.
Man, it is, and I promise I want to get to a lot of football. But first, since you're going to be in town for a golf event, we got to ask you a question. We have somebody on the morning show who claims, we think he's trolling, but he claims that he has never golfed in his life and he can go out there and shoot 80 or better on his first attempt. What would your response be to this particular individual?
Put as much money as you can, as much money as he wants to bet him, because he ain't going to do it. There's no, it's impossible. Man, I feel like I'm a decent golfer, and sometimes I can't break 80. So get as much money on the table as you can and take that bet.
I think he's already got $500 laid on the table against one of our friends.
Bobby,
so.
why would he do that?
Out of him. It'll be over after about 7 holes.
Now, okay. Thank you
what,
for
though,
that.
On the back 9, he's going to be like, I can bring it back. I can do it.
I'm going to birdie an eagle every hole. Don't worry about it.
We're going to play this audio for him because I think he's doing a bit, but he is also maybe the most irresponsibly confident person I've ever met.
Yes,
so
that's true.
Now, you
Sounds
said
like a fun guy.
Yeah,
he is fun.
Absolutely. You can see why he would be a good radio host too, right?
Yes, for sure.
Now, we're talking with Brian Urlacher. You said big weekend for us. I'm curious if you ever heard rumblings about this while you were playing. Cowboys went 12-5 last year. Cowboys went 12-5 this year. Our fan base feels miserable right now, and we have a big chunk of the fan base that feels like it's inevitable Dallas is going to lose on Monday. Did you ever get the sense that the Cowboys fan base was just generally a sad group of people?
So I grew up in New Mexico. I am part of that fan base, just so you know. I grew up a Cowboys fan, still am a Cowboys fan. So no, I'm optimistic every time the Cowboys plays. I think we're going to win. I'm saying we because I'm a Cowboys fan.
Hell yeah!
I feel good every time they play. Even after last week, I still feel good, sort of. Maybe not as good as I should, but that was terrible last week. I don't know what happened.
How far is Lovington from Carlsbad, by the way?
70 miles.
70 miles. Okay. A lot of my family's from Carlsbad, so I understand the connection with the Cowboys. They're all Cowboys fans there too. So I wanted to kind of figure that out a little bit.
Yep. That's all we got down there.
when you saw this game last week, does that take away a lot of what happened the rest of the season though? Do you forget about that, or you're like, no, there was so much more good, but they got to find their swagger back somehow?
I'm going to give them a pass because it was the last game of the year. I mean, they were playing for something, but they really weren't. The Giants weren't going to beat the Eagles, but I think we all knew that. So, but I guess if your stars are playing, I feel like you should play better than that. And I feel like most of our guys played, but we're better than that. I know there's just too many good players in that offense and defense to have that type of performance again. I'll say that.
I was looking at Micah Parsons' numbers. He played this year. Yeah, he is a beast. He is. But this year he had about 600 more or 400 more alignments at defensive end than he did at linebacker. And you got 13 sacks. Still great pass rush win rate for him and everything. But if you were him, would you say, hey, I want to be back at linebacker or put me back at edge?
Well, this is not going to come off well, but he will make more money as a rusher.
Yep.
Because the sacks are where the money's at these days, and the cause fumbles. So if I was him, and they have a hard, he's held the block off the edge. You see they have to chip him sometimes. Their best tackles on him. So I would say and they move him around on the front a bunch as well. So keep doing what he's doing. Plus, when it comes contract time, he will make more money because of what the sacks and the cause fumbles and stuff like that.
Hall of Famer Brian Urlacher joining us right now. Brian, if you are Leighton Vander Esch and he's coming back for this game and you're in the middle of the field and Tampa has proven throughout this season that they really can't run the ball, help me out. What do you do in the middle when Tom Brady is pretending to hand the ball off to Leonard Fournette?
Well, you still got to respect the run. I feel like Tampa's playing. The last couple of games they played, I know they lost last week to Atlanta, but the week before they looked pretty good against Carolina. They're scary because it's Tom Brady back there. But you still got to respect the run, and Leighton's – the good thing Leighton has is Leighton's 6'4", and he is playing this week. Is it for sure?
He is back at practice, so it's looking very, very likely.
Good. He's a good football player. But, yeah, I mean, you still have to respect the run, but I wouldn't be flying up there too quick if they see that pump fake. And he can differentiate quick. He's smart. They don't run the boots because Tom's not as mobile as some quarterbacks, so they don't run a lot of boots. But once you see, those linemen standing up pretty high, I think he'll be able to tell us to pass and maybe not fly up there like with some other teams.
Can you explain the importance of physicality, especially in the playoffs, and where, because the offensive line, they want to overpower the defensive line. How important is your guys' defensive front to what the linebackers need to accomplish?
Well, you got to set that tone early. I think the line of scrimmage dictates a lot who wins those games in the playoffs. If you win up front on both sides, you're usually going to win the football game. That's just the way it goes. I know Dallas has been able to run the ball a bunch this year. Offensively, the running backs have been great. But defensively, I mean, if you can establish the line of scrimmage on defense, you're doing something pretty good, because it's hard to do that with the way the rules are set up for the offense to win these days. You gotta play pretty well to establish that line of scrimmage, but it does make it easy for the backers because you can just run to the football.
Now, since you said you are part of the Cowboys fandom, I got to know, because we're talking about doing this tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Is there a Cowboys flaw that you think is overblown? Like, obviously, this team gets dissected to death. Is there a flaw on this team that you're like, that's not really as big of an issue as people make it out to be?
There's two things I worry about. It's our pass defense, and I love Dak to death, but the turnovers got to stop, man. The pick sixes, I think there's no doubt he's the quarterback. I'm not questioning that one bit. Dak is the man I love, and I love the way he plays, but you got to take care of the football, man. I think especially in the playoffs, turnovers will kill you in the playoffs, just like they will in the regular season, but they're magnified in the playoffs because the other teams are pretty damn good. They take advantage of those turnovers. So I just feel like you got to take better care of the football if you're Dak, and that may be solved with running the football as well. Just run the ball. He's a great play action quarterback. The weapons he has on offense, just get it out there, those receivers. But like I said, our pass defense, I worry a little bit about, especially with going against Tom Brady this week and the receivers they have in Tampa.
When you're talking about those turnover issues, I get it. All of the players out in the media, they of course say, well, of course we believe in Dak 100%. And I get that. I'm not saying they don't. I'm kind of curious if you can give us some insight in the locker room about how it goes when maybe your team doesn't have all of their belief in the quarterback.
For me, that was never an issue. We didn't talk about that stuff in the locker room. We didn't talk behind people's backs. If you start doing that stuff in the locker room, man, you're going to lose it quick, and none else is going to really matter. So, when I played for the Bears, we had 21 different starting quarterbacks in my 13 years.
Wow.
So that was never a topic of discussion because it didn't matter to us on defense. We had to stop. If our offense scored 6 points, we had to hold them to 5. If we scored 2, we had to shut them out. That's just the way it went. We didn't worry about that stuff, and I think as a defensive player, you can't worry about it. You have to do your job. If the offense gives up a touchdown, get a touchdown back. Score on special teams, get a pick 6. Your mentality has to be that way.
I heard our morning show ask this to Rod Marinelli, and I'm stealing it and asking you this, Brian. Is Tom Brady the boogeyman? And is there a real psychological advantage that he just holds over other people?
Oh, no, he's just good. I mean, I don't know about the psychological advantage or anything like that. The dude is just good. I mean, you look what he does. He takes care of the football. I know this year his numbers are quote-unquote down for him.
Yeah.
But he's still throwing for, 4,700 yards, 20-something touchdowns. I mean, most quarterbacks are like, I had a career season. This is awesome numbers. But Tom, you're like, he's getting all these numbers are down. And this time of year is when I think he's the scariest because of his experience. He knows what it takes to win these games. So, yeah, I would be a little nervous right now if I'm Cowboys Nation.
Before these playoffs start, who do you see making the Super Bowl and why?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I wasn't expecting that one. So out of the NFC, sorry, Cowboys, and going against me, San Fran's playing so good.
All right,
you look at their defense, getting to the football, getting takeaways. They got their third-string quarterback in there just making plays, and their offense is hard to stop because of the misdirection running game. They get you going one way, and they cut it back. They made a great trade for McCaffrey there in the season. But I like them on both sides of the football. And in the AFC, the Bills and the Chiefs are good, but I'm going to go back to what I said earlier about taking care of the football. Mahomes takes care of the football a little better than Josh Allen has lately, and this late in the season. So, and I like their defense just a little bit more than Buffalo's defense. So I'm going to go with Kansas City from the AFC.
Kind of a heartbreaking answer right there, but I appreciate your honesty nonetheless. As long as we're talking honesty, since you're going to have the Celebrity Classic going down with Choctaw, and one of the people there is DeMarcus Ware, are you telling the rest of the people who vote for the Hall of Fame that DeMarcus Ware is a Hall of Famer and what the hell happened last year?
So I saw DeMarcus at the Invited Tournament last year, and I was like, dude, when are you up for the Hall of Fame? He goes, I was up last year. I said, what? I could not believe he did not get in. I don't understand how. I mean, I have this conversation, I feel like every other week with people. It drives me crazy how they vote on that. Well, he'll get in, but he wasn't. This year we had to get so-and-so in. No, he's a Hall of Famer. Put him in. I mean, I don't know if he doesn't get in this year. There's some conspiracy BS going on because DeMarcus Ware is the first ballot Hall of Famer. You know, this year you got Freeney on the ballot. You got DeMarcus. You got Jared Allen. You know, those three guys, they're all three deserving to go in the Hall of Fame. DeMarcus should have been in last year. If he doesn't get in this year, there's an issue.
Since you grew up a Cowboys fan, how much did you get to see Darren Woodson play?
That's my favorite player of all time.
Yep.
He's not in the Hall of Fame either.
We all love Brian Urlacher now.
But you look at, longevity, and I'm with you. Longevity of his career, the huge numbers aren't there if you look at safeties, though, right? You look at who he's up against, and safeties are in the Hall of Fame. Am I right? Or am I wrong? The picks, all those big numbers that they want for your safeties. But Woody's the man. I mean, shoot, he was my guy, number 28. That's who I tried to model our game at when I was in high school. I wanted to be Darren Woodson.
Excellent stuff.
ASU as well. He went to Arizona State in Arizona.
Whew.
Yep.
Excellent stuff. We appreciate you. Can you give us a go Cowboys on your way out?
Oh, I'm a Cowboys fan, but I play for the Bears.
Oh, come on. They're not in the playoffs.
Yeah, hold on. The Bears season's over. You're right. So I'll give you a go Cowboys for this Monday. How about a Monday night playoff game? What the piss?
We do need to talk to you again about Justin Fields at some point. We'll love to talk to you again, man. Have a good one.
I'd love to go on there about that. Sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much